Order, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, good morning. Before we get started with our regular agenda items, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize Lori Kazmarek, Office Service Supervisor for McLeod County Social Services. Her retirement is being recognized today, actually through June 28th I have, is that right? But most importantly, I'd like to recognize her for her 39 years of dedicated service to McLeod County. Lori, would you like to say anything? Otherwise, the worst. So then we're good. All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'd like to get a picture with you if you can, and then whoever else you want to do that with. Okay? All right. We all wore blue shirts with Doug.
He didn't get the memo. Let's give it a second to let them leave.
Yeah, they only took one picture. I sure didn't smile, I don't imagine.
All right, we'll continue with our agenda. Consideration of agenda items. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Hearing none, Mr. Chair, move to approve the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Pohlmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills.
Mr. Chairman, I move the payment of the bills.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Pohlmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, we proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Morning, Susan. You're up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Susan Sumnick, Department Head of Court Services. I am here to just ask for permission to hire a PSI contract writer. I'm assuming that you've all read my summary already, so I'm not going to reread that, if that's okay. Our office has had an increased number of PSIs coming that are court-ordered reports from our court system, as our numbers have also been increasing. It is hard for our agents to keep up with their normal caseload duties, in addition to keeping up and writing these reports in a thorough manner. We have had PSI contract writers in the past. In 2017, when Terry Sanquist was on medical leave for most of that year. It is a huge asset and help to our office to continue to make sure that the community is safe and we can continue to monitor those offenders that are on probation. The funds that would be used to pay for that contract writer would be the supervision fee fund. So adult offenders who are on probation pay a fee to be on probation. It's a similar fund that's used to pay for our community work service crew. So there is no cost coming out of our county budget.
For the public that may be watching, can you expand on what a PSI or the pre-sentence investigation is, please?
PSI stands for pre-sentence investigation. Once an offender pleads guilty to an offense, the court has the choice by statute to order our office to conduct this pre-sentence investigation. We meet with the offenders, we collect collateral information, we review all their police reports, and then we make recommendations back to the court in a thorough manner that recommendations are most appropriate for that individual and not just the case that's coming through the court system.
All right. Any questions for Susan? Sheila, any personnel issues on your end?
No, so this would come out of the supervisory fund, the same as the juvenile work crew leader, correct?
Supervision fees fund, yes.
Thank
And it's a
you.
contract that the state has provided me to, because we have the state involved and we have the county involved in our office, I did get it approved through the state already, and they provided me with a contract to offer a position to an experienced PSI writer.
And there are no concerns because that fund is replenished?
Correct.
With the fines, okay.
And we have plenty of financial support in that account.
Okay, commissioners, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the temporary contract pre-sentence investigation writer approval.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, is there a second?
Second that.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
good
great
day.
Thank you.
Assessor's office, Brenda. Good morning.
Good morning. The County Assessor's Office is asking for a tax court petition settlement on 2 parcels as well as an abatement. The first parcel is 17.050.2010, property owner Frederick Blasser, for the taxes payable in 2019. The current EMV is $183,700, asking for a settlement offer to reduce the value to $133,300, which is a $50,400 reduction.
And commissioners, that, or everyone that is under item B, under the assessors, just so we make sure we're following along right. All right, any questions for Brenda on this issue?
Brenda, or Mr. Chair,
Yes.
was that a compromise with him? I mean, did you guys do or how
We did a
he come up?
complete reassessment of the property inside and out, and what you see on the outside is not truly what's on the inside. There's a
Okay.
lot of functionalism to the property, especially in the basement area where they cut a hole and added on.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'd entertain.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing now, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second parcel is 04.025.1000. Property owner is MJW Inc., also for taxes payable in 2019. The current EMV is $1,098,200, asking for a settlement offer to reduce the value to $1,030,400, which is a reduction of $67,800.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the tax court settlement.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Would also like to do an abatement for the taxes payable in 2020 because he had missed the Board of Equalization, and rather than file for another tax court petition, we would offer an abatement. Would like to lower the pay 20 market value from $1,157,050 to $1,088,400, which is a reduction of $61,600.
All
Mr.
right.
Chair?
Yes.
Now, that's a reduction from the reduction? Is that correct?
Right.
I'm
So
a little
our-
bit familiar with this one. Is this a property owner? I mean, was this a joint settlement? I mean, did they seem to be?
Because what we did in the findings for the 2019 petition, we also used that to go forward for the pay 20 value.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Would also like to make a motion so that would give Mike the authority to act on behalf of the county board for these settlements, so the county attorney's office can submit the paperwork to the tax court.
All right, I'll move that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, and again, that's just formality, that's
Yep.
what we,
Yep.
very good.
I would agree. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
Public Works, Mr. Brunkhorst.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, John.
Two items for you today. First one, to consider hiring SRF Consulting out of Minneapolis to do consulting services for us to prepare fiscal year 2019 Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails Commission legacy grant application on behalf of the county. This would be for Phase 2 of the Dakota Rail Trail. Their proposal is not to exceed fee of $1,715. That would be out of the park budget.
John, that for everyone, but specifically for the public, this application will have to come back for final approval to be submitted, correct?
This is just to apply for it. If it's successful, it would come back here for approval before the next step.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
John, will we see this grant application before it's submitted to the Regional Parks and Trails Commission?
We could do that, yeah. Yeah, my understanding is that the direction for the grant is to do from County Road 4 over to County Road 1, prepare the trail, basically everything except paving. Fix the drainage, fix the bridges, culverts and so forth, some gravel base, everything but paving.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that explanation.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this is, I see it's based on an estimate of hourly rates, so they're comfortable with that 17.15, that, that they don't get to a point where they,
We made him put not to exceed, so yeah. That's,
okay, very good.
Yeah, I think they've done it in the past, I think, it's certainly something we could apply for and do it ourselves in-house, but, these guys are the experts, they've done previous ones for us, and it's a pretty reasonable fee, I think, to have them do that.
No, I'm very much in favor of the not to exceed, it's just that I see it was based on hourly, so I hate to see them come 90% done and say, well, this is as far as we go, so that's, but you feel comfortable with those figures?
Yeah.
Very good.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, we have a culvert on our County Road 56, or a common line road, northwest of Winstead. This is a shared road with with Wright County. Culverts failed and we closed the road back on May 26th. We've been working on a replacement plan. We have actually soliciting quotes right now to start the replacement pending DNR approval. When we first put this on the agenda, it didn't get to the closure state, but we've had a lot of issues with it, so we closed it. Now we're trying to fast track it with approval. So we'd like your approval for us to move forward and solicit quotes for the replacement of that culvert. The installation of it and the replacement, not the materials, we're guessing somewhere between 15 to 20,000 is a guess. And like I said, anything we spend on that project will be split with Wright County equally.
John, I'm happy to do it or even make the motion, but I just want to get the dollar right here because we want to go through that. So say that again, what you estimate the cost to be?
I think the estimated replacement cost will be anywhere from 15 to 20.
And that's
Dollar.
shared with Wright County.
It would be shared with Wright County, correct. That's just for the installation, not the materials, which is the next item on the agenda.
How does sure, and thank you for that. How does the board want to proceed? Do they want to just put a not to exceed on there? Or typically we always put a figure on there.
Or we can certainly come once we get the quotes, and we just want to fast track the process. So we want to bring the quotes back at a later meeting, for the official approval of them, or not to exceed. 30,000 just to be safe. I guess however you want to proceed.
Yeah, I'm open to ideas. Gentlemen, anything?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
John, is that if we'd say a not to exceed 30, is that shared with Wright County then, or is that our half of the
That'd be the
estimated
whole
cost?
project, I think. So our share would be, if you want to say not to exceed a McLeod County share of 20,000, I'd be comfortable with that for the installation.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, with the busy construction season and all the weather delays that we deal with, I think there's no reason to have them come back. So I'll make a motion as a not to exceed 20,000 McLeod County share.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Kruger. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Just let us know, okay?
Absolutely. Item C is then the concrete pipe culvert materials for that, the culvert, the 2 aprons, ties, and miscellaneous materials. The low quote for that was from Hancock Concrete out of Cannon Falls, and their cost was $9,938.54. And we did receive another quote from Forterra out of Maple Grove. Their price was $11,602. So we'd like to have you authorize purchase of the pipe from Hancock for that $99,38.54.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the purchase of the concrete pipe from Hancock Concrete.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, John, just hold on a second. I just got to the Department of Natural Resources approval, permit approvals. Do you anticipate any concerns with?
No, we
DNR
actually got
approval?
those. We worked with the local hydrologist and kind of got that fast track through, had the hydraulic study and stuff. They forego that for us, so, no, it's in hand. I don't see any issues.
And they've verified the, what they call the invert height of that culvert, so we get it in at the right height?
We put all that in the permit. We're gonna put it back, same elevation it's at today.
Okay.
So, and they've approved the permit.
Okay, all right, thank you, John.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, John. Environmental
Mr. Chair?
Services. Yes.
John, before you run, could you just, with this weather and everything, how are we doing like out on County Road 3? I see a lot of things going on in the short window that they've been doing, so
Yeah,
how
they've been moving concrete paving. Right now, we're probably a day left on County Road 15. They're on they're just north of County Road 3 on the overlay portion. Like I said, probably a day or a little longer left on that. And then they'll be picking up from that and going to County Road 3, starting at the Carver County end, working their way west. So paving progress, approximately a mile a day is what we've been doing. So far, they've had 2 rain days since they started to, they had to shut down. They got a little bit of issues now with some material delivery, so their days might be a little lighter now for the rest of the week, getting fly ash. Otherwise, they're moving pretty good. Things are progressing good. They've been able to handle the local traffic concern, which is always tough a little bit when we get the wider pavement, but all in all, I think it's going good. Dakota Trail, we're hoping to have some paving starting next week is what I heard a little bit. They did some curb and gutter on the parking lot there in town, and the trail's all ready to pave. It's just a matter of getting them in here, which, like I said, I think is next week.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
John, I noticed the pavement on, like you said, on County Road 15 is nearing completion. Will they be shouldering that while they're also paving the other County Road 3 segment?
There was talk of trying the sub contractor for the bituminous driveways and some of the turn lanes was William Mueller, and they're talking about next week, I believe, or possibly late this week or
Okay.
next week, but we gotta coordinate that with, we're pretty short-staffed if we run 2 operations like that, so we'll just
Sure.
have to see how that works. But yeah,
Sure.
they're definitely gonna follow up right away, and as soon as Mathwoods can get that job wrapped up, that's the goal.
Okay. Do we have a target date when they anticipate the roads will be open?
I would say July-ish timeframe, end of July
Okay.
is a ballpark guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Now we're ready, Mark. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Mark.
4 contracts in front of you this morning, so we'll start with item A, and and that is consider approval to enter into a recycling service agreement between Demcon Materials Recovery LLC out of Shakopee, Minnesota, and McLeod County for recycling services. In regards to this, they are a MRF. We would send our material to them. There is 2 numbers that you need to be aware of. They have a tipping fee on the last page of the contract. Excuse me, that's the rebate. On the 8th page of the contract, $73 a ton is what we would pay them to receive our material, but then there is a rebate that gets brought back to McLeod County for the revenue side of the material. Right now, that revenue piece is approximately $58.34. It's a fluctuating number, so we're gonna end up paying $20 a ton for them to take that. That number is coming up. Earlier in the year, it was significantly lower. So with that rebate, annually, they have seen it consistently around that 68 to 72, so hopefully it will improve once some factors in the recycling industry change. One of them is there is investment from international companies that are starting to open up business in our area, which should hopefully create more of a demand for the product. So, and the only other note I have on that is that this is a 1-year contract with 2 one-year renewal options for us.
Any questions for Mark? Any comments from the MRF committee members?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
That option, 1-year options, what does that really mean? I mean, is that just, who does that benefit or protect? Does that protect us to a point, or how, what does that really mean?
Yeah, it does. So when they set that up, if you look at the tipping fee, it's an increase of $1 a ton, and it locks us in. It gives us that option to a minimal increase year over year. So if, for instance, oil were to spike and it costs more to run that facility, we get locked in at that $74 versus paying the surcharge on any of that operation capacity at that facility.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mark, our county attorney, I believe, has reviewed all of these contracts and signed off on them as well.
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair, with all the options that we've been looking at, this is the most logical way to go for it for now, so I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B is to consider approval to enter into a contract between West Central Sanitation, Wilmer, Minnesota, and McLeod County to process recycling and transport recyclables under the county program. This is something, as we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks. Green Forest was our vendor. They asked to be released from their contract. We did that at an earlier meeting in May. So this is the second contract coming forward, asking for a contract with West Central Industries to process our material. On the back page, the very last addendum, attachment B, is of the most interest. The county would pay the contractor $45.35 a ton to process the commingled single sort material at a rate of 7,000 tons per year. And then also we would pay said contractor $31.50 a ton for the source separated material. With that being said, these costs will be offsetted based on the tip fee that we charge haulers to bring that material to our facility. So again, it's early to tell, but those are the rates that the contractor has supplied to McLeod County to do the work. They are currently on site. They started on May 17th. So far, things are working very, very well. And our goal here is to definitely, hopefully, bring that to a net zero or a number in the black very shortly due to the source separated material. We are seeing some very clean material coming in, so it is a very good number, and I do appreciate working with West Central on that. So,
All right. Any questions for Mark on that one?
Move to approve.
No, second.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
item C is to consider approval to extend the 2019 recycling contract between McLeod County and West Central Sanitation, Wilmer, Minnesota for the collection of recyclables from rural collection sites, May 1, 2019 through July 31st, 2019, with a CPI index increase of 2.2%. A payment of $43.09 per service will be billed monthly for each 8 cubic yard container, and a payment of $216.45 per service will be billed monthly for each 30-yard roll-off. As stated, this is just an extension to our current agreement with West Central. As you'll note, this does expire July 31st, and the reason for that is we will have to schedule a SWAC, a Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting, to discuss what we want to do moving forward for our rural collection sites. That's the reason for just a brief extension on this. One of the things that we would like to entertain is to work with our cities to get these recycling containers for the rural areas to an organic location where they're bringing yard debris, and then look at the rates that we are paying for that particular type of service.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mark, you just referenced getting the rural recycling dumpsters to the organic recycling sites. Do most of them have adequate road facilities going in so that, you know, the heavier trucks will not do a lot of damage at those sites?
Yeah, most of them do, and that's something we need to look at in regards to how we prep that site. Some of them are not secure, they don't have fencing associated with them, and that's one of the biggest issues that we face with some of these sites. Some of the patrons, if they drop the material off, if the containers are full, they put it on top, it falls to the side, and it creates an unsightly view. So we need to look at that a little bit so that recycling is not looked at in such a negative fashion, and we can try to control some of the contamination rates that we're seeing in those sites.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
All right, anything else on item C?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger, second by Commissioner Szymanski. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So before I let you go on, we'll have to get that SWAC committee scheduled if we
Yeah,
haven't
we
done
should work
that.
on that.
So we'll,
Yeah, and I was gonna look at some dates and work with administration to get that on the next board agenda.
no, let's do that. All right, thank you. All right, lost track. D?
Item D, consider approval to renew the service agreement contract for the curbside collection and hauling of recyclable materials for McLeod County municipalities with West Central Sanitations and McLeod County Environmental Services from May 1st, 2019 through April 30th, 2022. With that being said, this is just an extension to the existing contract we have. It's a renewal. One of the nice things is the rates have come down a little bit, as you'll see in the contract. Originally, there were approximately 11,000 households that were being billed under the old contract. West Central has done a very nice job helping us with that. They've reduced the household count to 9691, which is definitely lessened the burden for McLeod County on that contract.
Thank you. All right, any questions on item D?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve item D.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Polmeyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And last
Anything
item,
else?
if I do, Jeff Bertram with West Central is here. He was gracious enough to come out to answer any questions. I did believe he wanted to at least just make a statement to the board, if that's okay at this time.
That is.
Morning, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Jeff Bertram, West Central Sanitation. We just want to say thank you for your continued partnership with us. We enjoy working with Mark and Sarah and Katie and your team, and we've continued to evolve with you, and we will continue to do that. And as many of you have, if there's any issues or anything, please call Don or I or our staff, and we'll certainly continue to work with you and partner with you in the best way for McLeod County and for West Central Sanitation. It's been a great partnership, and we look forward to continuing that. So anytime you have any questions, feel free to contact us directly or through Mark and Sarah and Katie, and we'll keep working with you. So.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
Thank
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you, Mr. Bertram, for providing reliable service to all the McLeod County service area.
All right, Mark, anything else before we go? No, thank you. All right. Auditor Treasurer. Good morning, Connie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
So today I am here to have you consider the approval to purchase the DS200 equipment for a total cost of $130,415. The funds will be coming from the election funds and also from the cities and townships. Just some history on the on the grant. So on December 7th, 2017, the McLeod County Board approved a resolution and authorized the county to apply to the Minnesota Secretary of State for a voting equipment grant account, the Vega grant. The Auditor Treasurer's Office was notified that McLeod County was awarded $52,024.40, of which we've spent $23,310.82 for electronic rosters. We used those in the 2018 elections with success, and that cost was shared with the cities and townships. 75% was paid by the county, and then 25% by the cities and townships. So now we are here, the remainder of the grant must be spent by August 1st, and we were waiting on legislature according to what equipment was going to be certified. So we are recommending to purchase the DS200 equipment. It's a tabulator, so it would replace our M100 tabulators that we currently have. And that would be distributed as follows. The cities and townships would be responsible for 100% of the hardware costs, less the grant fund of the $28,713.58, and also less a 50% trade-in allowance for their current tabulators. The county will be responsible for all startup costs, all costs to upgrade to the electionware software, and also will continue to pay annual maintenance costs on the hardware and software. Our current annual maintenance costs are $19,310 that the county pays. So
All right.
are there questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Connie, what's this going to cost the local units of government net, after they get their, trade-in value and everything? What will, my townships or my cities, what will they be spending?
Right, so one DS200, the initial cost is $5,480. Each one will have less a grant of $1,367.31 and their trade-in of $250. So their net will be $3,862.69, which is about 70% of the total cost.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So we had a workshop about this last week, and the commissioners asked and were assured, and I just want it out there to the public, that the townships and cities are aware of this potential, correct?
They are aware. The former county auditor treasurer had been telling them for at least 6 years, she said, to expense for this in their
Okay.
budgets. And also they should be expensing for, or budgeting for, the replacement for the assisted voting devices, the auto marks. Those will be coming up next and probably shortly.
Okay, yeah, just keep that communication open, please, to let them know. All right?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Connie, what's the anticipated, date that this equipment will be available and ready for operation?
We are expecting it, I'm hoping later this fall.
Okay.
There are 70 other counties about using DS200 equipment, and everyone was in the same boat, waiting on legislature to determine what was going to be passed. So there might be many orders, and so I can't really, say exactly.
But we don't have any major elections coming up this fall? that
No,
I'm
they
aware of.
would be used first in the 2020 elections.
Okay. They'd be available for the primaries as well as the
And the
general
PNP.
election? Okay,
Hopefully.
all right, thank you.
All right, what do we want to do?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Szymanski, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Kruger, any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, I'll just deliver the contracts to Lynn.
Okay. All right, anything, we'll move on to county administration, review our calendars. Rich, go ahead.
Okay, last board meeting on the 21st, and we had a workshop after the board meeting. Did a lot of discussion on the voting machines, had our social service meeting in the afternoon, and a light calendar for me the last 2 weeks. The 24th, we had our discussion with Tiger Path to tie with some of our long-range planning and development programs. Was able to attend Cindy's retirement party on the 29th, and 30th we had a very short EE&D committee meeting reviewed the Cinco de Mayo, and looking forward to the county pork chop feed later on in August. So, brings me up to today.
Okay, after our last workshop and social services meeting, also attended the workshop with the Tiger Path program, attended Memorial Day services in Hutchinson, the retirement program for our past administrator Cindy, and also the Buffalo Creek watershed meeting I attended.
The workshop, in addition to the election, we covered in great deal some trail conversation, which we voted on today, the social services meeting, and public health meeting was there, and the staff is doing a nice job as we search for their next director in running that part of our county. I wanted to compliment them for that. I've had some meetings regarding some tax issues in townships that I represent, had some discussions regarding Trailblazer. Also attended the Tiger Path workshop at the Hutchinson High School. Thank you to their staff for hosting that. And again, attended the retirement reception for Cindy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, since our last board meeting, we followed up with a workshop in the Social Services Committee meeting on May 21st. On May 22nd, I was part of the interview team for the Health and Human Services Director, first round of interviews. And then on the 24th, we also attended the Tiger Path presentation at the Hutchinson High School. Excellent program. It's like 21st century education there. I really appreciate what they're doing. On May 28th, we had Supporting Hands Nurse Family Partnership Finance Committee meeting. We talked about budgeting for 2020 with our employee health insurance plan and purchasing of staff vehicles for those that drive quite a few miles. On the 29th, I also attended Cindy Ford's retirement reception here at the courthouse, a very nice meeting, gathering of friends and supporters of Cindy. And then on the 30th, we had a meeting of the Meeker Sibley Trailblazer Health Plan group. The advisory committee looked at some of the information available for our health plan and again, looking at how we can manage the plan for 2020. And that is the extent of my meetings, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last meeting, a lot of things were covered here. I also attended the Social Service Board meeting after our last meeting on the 24th, the Tiger Path. I don't exactly know what it's called, but for job creation at the Hutchinson High School, and it's quite interesting. It's with the need of workers, they have a really good program on some training and some practical applications. That afternoon, I also participated in interviews for our new IT director. On the 28th, I also attended the Buffalo Creek watershed meeting. And on the 29th, I had an HRA board meeting. I also, on the 29th, had a Trailblazer Executive Committee meeting. And yesterday, I attended the SWCD board meeting, which I think are kind of important with everything going on disaster-wise with our ditches in McLeod County. I've spent some time in the last 2 weeks looking at some ditches with the sloughing and trying to get a real handle on what's going on in the county. I also attended Cindy Ford's retirement party, and they were well attended, and I think she was really happy, and I'm glad of that. So it brings us up to today.
All right, thank you. Sheila, welcome. Anything to add?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to give a short update on our recruitment for the open director positions.
Okay.
As the commissioners noted, we're done with our first round of interviews for the Health and Human Services Director and for the Information Technology Director positions. We'll finish our second interviews this week, So we look forward to placing individuals in those leadership roles soon. And thank you to everyone for taking the time to meet with those individuals. That's all.
Thank you. You want to go over A and B under county administration, please?
Yes, thank you. Item A, notification of 2019 Spring AMC, Association of Minnesota Counties, District 7 meeting on June 4th, 2019 at 8:00 a.m. in Watonwan County at the American Legion. The address is 620 First Avenue South, St. James, and I'm sorry if I said that name wrong.
No, you nailed
You
it.
did it right.
Thank you.
Sheila, I would just, it'll be tomorrow, the 5th.
Oh, that date is wrong.
So,
Yes.
but,
So that meeting is tomorrow, June 5th. Thank you.
Okay.
Item B, thank you. Notification of Board of Appeals and Equalization meeting to be held on June 17th, 2019 at 6:00 p.m. in the courthouse boardroom at the McLeod County Courthouse.
All right, and again, that is at the courthouse, and our board meeting will be before that at 4:30, correct?
Correct.
Correct, all right. And that's also at the courthouse.
Yes.
All right,
That's all.
thank you very much. Open forum, press relations, anything? You're the press. All right, looking for a motion to recess till our next board meeting, June 17th, 4:30 p.m. in the courthouse boardroom.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Polmeyer, is there any?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schmansky. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys still doing the fly-in to Washington?
Ready? All right, good job.
Oh, they left all the donuts here.
I know, now we're gonna have one. Cop food.
Yep.
Hey, Rich, you know what it's like trying to eat
Well, I was trying to watch the TV, so I could only eat when the camera wasn't